G'day guys and gal, the Horus Heresy is the ultimate thing I point to when I explain why Warhammer 40k isn't just another fictional setting, but its own beast entirely. It's literally a prequel series that has more lore than Star Wars, Halo, and Dune combined. 54 full-length novels featuring hundreds of fleshed out characters, thousands of supporting characters, dozens of interwoven plot lines on a galactic scale, and it's a bloody prequel. However, I bet 99.9% of you haven't read the Horus Heresy series. I'm only just reaching the end of it now, and I've been working at it for over a year, and this is my job to know Warhammer lore. So whilst I'm sure you know about Sanguinius punching on with Angron, or the lion fighting Conrad Kurz, or Kurz cock and ball torturing Vulcan, you wouldn't know the other 99% of other stuff that happens between then, or what order the events of the heresy take place. So it's timeline time, baby. Bitches love timelines. Before we get started, you guys asked and now I've answered, as the 2025 Majorkill calendar is going live as of right now. That's right, I finally released the calendar before it became out of date. Here's the twist. This isn't a booby calendar or a nude cosplay calendar. I do like boobs, I haven't become gay or anything. However, I also love Warhammer lore. So I commissioned 12 amazing Warhammer 40k artworks depicting some of the most awesome moments from the lore, scenes from the Horus Heresy, scenes that involve the Tau, Eldar, Chaos, Necrons, and Custodians, and so on. I basically got every single faction involved, so no matter who you play or who you like, they're represented. The calendar is a hybrid of Australian and American, which means it has special symbols for day like Australia Day, Super Bowl, Halloween, and my birthday, and I threw in Chinese New Year in there as well, because why not? I am very proud of this calendar, as it comes in 3 styles, either A4 standard style, A3 standard style, or the Legendary Edition, which features an extra artwork, has a custom front and back cover artwork, and is signed. The Legendary Edition is limited, as I nearly gave myself arthritis last year from signing all the 2024 Legendary calendars. The calendars will only be live for 1 week, today till next Monday, so if you want to get it, then now's your chance. I won't be posting the artworks online, so if you want to enjoy them, you gotta get this calendar. This will also act as a test. A lot of people think Majorkill fans are porn-addicted simps. However, if this calendar sells better than the nudie cosplay calendar, not only does it prove that you guys are chads, not virgins, but I'll also release the nude Sanguinius cosplay photo shoot I've been sitting on for a while. Just because we aren't simps doesn't make us gay. Link is below. Get the best goddamn calendar of 2025 now. Today we'll go over the timeline of the Horus Heresy. This definitely won't be like a deep dive video, but will give you a coherent direction of the plot and where everyone was at various times. Now let's get into it. The heresy kicks off with Horus, who under the immense pressure from being War Master combined with his own ego and insecurities, getting stabbed with a chaos knife on the moon of Davin. He had been manipulated to travel to Davin by Erebus, the architect of the heresy and a secret servant of chaos. The knife not only began killing Horus due to its unique properties, but also inflamed his ego and exploited his weaknesses. As he lay dying, his Space Marine sons took him to a chaos lodge of healing in an act of desperation. In that lodge, Horus was further exposed to chaos and was fed misleading visions that pushed him into pledging allegiance to chaos and agreeing to topple his father's empire and become the new ruler of mankind. Horus immediately began planning his heresy upon his awakening and revival, knowing he needed powerful allies and the element of surprise. He managed to convince the leader of the Mechanicum, Fabricator General Kelborg Hal, who was the person in charge of supplying most of the Imperium's weapons and armor, to join him via offering him a number of special STCs, technological blueprints, as well as more independence for Mars. Kelborg Hal accepted his offer as he harbored a lot of resentment towards the Emperor for more or less forcing Mars into an agreement. With Mars secured, Horus turned his attentions towards turning his brothers to his side. Horus was extremely level-headed, charismatic, and insightful. He knew exactly which brothers would join him and which ones would not. Lorgar was already a servant of chaos by this point. Conrad and Angron were insane and would relish the chance to be assholes. Mortarion resented the Emperor, so he was an easy pick, whilst Perturabo was emotionally manipulated into joining Horus after he burned down his own homeworld. Fulgrim was being corrupted by a chaos sword, so Horus waited until the corruption had seeped in before approaching him and then converting Fulgrim to his cause. Alpharis approached Horus and offered his loyalty after receiving visions of the future by the alien Cabal, and Magnus actually wasn't originally a part of the plan, which is why Horus manipulated the Space Wolves into attacking Prospero. He wished for both legions to wipe each other out. The Mechanicum began diverting most of its resources to the traitor legions in secret, whilst also developing new weapons and ammo that were designed to penetrate Space Marine armor. Horus also identified a few of the Loyalist legions that would be challenging to overcome, such as the Dark Angels, so he sent them to the edge of the galaxy using his authority as War Master, whilst others such as the White Scars were isolated in cut-off star systems. This was all during a pre-heresy preparation phase, where Horus wished to set up the traitors as well as he could. The phase ended with the Istvaan atrocity, where most traitor legions purged their Loyalist elements by sending them onto a planet and then virus bombing it. Most of the Loyalists survived, however, due to the heroics of a man called Saul Tarvitz, and they fought to the bitter end. During this purge, a Loyalist ship escaped and news of Horus's betrayal reached the Imperium. At a similar time, Fulgrim tried to convert Ferris to the traitor's cause and was rejected, causing Fulgrim to attack Ferris Horus and then flee. Within a short while, most of the Imperium became aware of Horus's treachery, with Rogel Dawn sending the Salamanders, Raven Guard, and Iron Hands to destroy Horus, with the Night Lords, Alpha Legion, Wordbearers, and Iron Warriors supposed to back them up. This resulted in the Istvaan Dropside Massacre, where the 3 Loyalist legions were spit roasted by the 8 traitor legions and lost around 95% of their strength, with Ferrus Manus himself dying and Vulcan being captured. As Chaos had been stirring up the warp to help Horus, a lot of messages weren't getting through, hence the Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, White Scars, and Space Wolves didn't really know what was going on. The Wordbearers were sent to destroy the Ultramarines, taking them by surprise as they were mustering on Calth. The Ultramarines survived and defeated the Wordbearers before then taking on both the Wordbearers and World Eaters during the Shadow Crusade. A crusade in which the 2 traitor legions were trying to cause as much destruction as possible to trigger the Ruin Storm, a massive warp storm that would isolate Terra, scatter the Loyalists, and give the traitors a huge advantage. The Night Lords were sent to attack the Dark Angels and slow them down as much as possible to prevent the line from entering the war and fucking all the traitors to death. Perturabo and Fulgrim went on a quest to try find the Angel Exterminatus, a mythical Eldar weapon that could supposedly end the war early by forcing an Imperial surrender. Mortarion was sent to try convert the Khan to the cause of the traitors. Magnus sat on the sidelines, licking his wounds and considering which side to join whilst his shattered self begun to die. Alpharis activated numerous confusing plans and unleashed his massive legion against the Loyalists. Now, the first part of the heresy was extremely good for the traitors. They almost wiped out 3 Loyalist legions, the other Loyalist legions were scattered and taken by surprise, but here is where the Loyalists get to strike back. The Ultramarines fight off the Shadow Crusade, with the Wordbearers and World Eaters withdrawing from Ultramar as Angron ascends to become a demon prince. The Lion crushes the Night Lord Legion, killing many of them and fracturing the rest. The Khan rejects Mortarion, fights him off, and then fights through an Alpha Legion blockade before declaring himself loyal. Sanguinius overcomes the Chaos Trap set for him by Horus and crushes a combined Slaaneshi and Khornite demonic legion. Fulgrim turns on Perturabo and nearly kills him, ascending to become a demon prince in the process as Perturabo escapes and declares eternal hatred for the Emperor's children. The Alpha Legion try and fail to destroy the Space Wolves after Prospero, losing a chunk of their legion. They also attack the Sol system and lose a fuck ton more Marines, as well as Alpharius getting killed by Dawn. This causes Omegan to take over and withdraw the Alpha Legion from the heresy. However, whilst his brothers may be struggling, Horus and his legion were a powerhouse. He drew Fulgrim and Mortarion to him and managed to take over Molech, giving him access to the Molech warp portal the Emperor once used and gaining immense power from doing so. He also captured or destroyed world after world, creating a clean path to Terra. The only spanner in this plan was when the Space Wolves went rogue and directly attacked the Sons of Horus in a near suicidal charge, resulting in Lehman stabbing Horus with the Emperor's spear but losing most of the Space Wolves in the process. The wounded Horus then enters a coma, leaving the traitors leaderless and scattered, allowing the Loyalists more time to regroup. After the Shadow Crusade, Guilliman discovers a beacon in Ultramar called the Pharos device, which acted as a mini Astronomicon. It guided the Blood Angels and the Dark Angels to Ultramar. However, as they were so cut off, they thought the Imperium had fallen, so they made Imperium Secundus and made Sanguinius the new Emperor. However, as soon as they discovered that the Imperium still stood, they immediately dissolved their empire and beeline to Terra. However, Chaos had put many obstacles in their path, including literal system-spanning Chaos Walls. The 3 Primarchs fought through each obstacle and even fought Mardale, the Chaos Jesus. However, they managed to beat Mardale and destroy Davin, which was the source of the Ruin Storm's power, causing it to dissipate and give the Loyalists a path to Terra, a big no-no for the traitors. The Lion and Guilliman distracted the various traitor blockade fleets, which allowed Sanguinius to slip through and reach Terra. At a similar time, the White Scars also reached Terra after battling the traitors and hit-and-run campaigns for years. They did so via accessing a portal to the Webway, which bypassed the Ruin Storm. There was also a number of other important but smaller subplots, such as Corvus's action against the traitors post-Istvaan and how he ended up saving Lehman and the Space Wolves, as well as Vulcan's escape from Kurz and his quest to reach Terra to build the Talisman of 7 Hammers, but as I said, we don't have 100 hours to make this video. So the current disposition of the heresy was the White Scars, Imperial Fists, and Blood Angels defending Terra, the Lion destroying various traitor homeworlds to cut off their supplies and threaten them from the rear, the Raven Guard and Space Wolves licking their wounds on the Raven Guard's homeworld after narrowly escaping death, Guilliman finding an alternative route to Terra with a massive army that would crush the traitors if he was able to catch them between himself and Terra's defenses. Vulcan was also on Terra but keeping his presence a secret. So basically all Loyalist Primarchs were either on Terra or they were on their way to Terra by Corvus and Lehman. The traitors' disposition was a lot worse. Horus was in a coma, Fulgrim was jerking off in the Webway, Perturabo was fighting a pointless war on Tallarn, losing a lot of warriors in the process, Conrad had abandoned the heresy via getting jettisoned into space by Sanguinius, the Alpha Legion had ditched, Magnus was still trying to find his marbles, Angron was going on random killing sprees, leaving only Lorgar and Mortarion actually accessible. Lorgar worked with Malagurst, the equerry of Horus, to bring the traitors together. Perty was forced to abandon Tallarn and instead seek out and bring Angron to heal. Lorgar went to go go find Fulgrim and bring him to heal. Magnus finally got his shit together and declared himself for the traitors, whilst Mortarion also began heading to the muster point on Ulanor. Horus was finally restored back to consciousness when Malagos sacrificed his own life to bring him back, and although Lorgar tried to usurp Horus and take control, Horus beat the shit out of him and re-established himself as the chosen War Master of Chaos. In the meantime, Mortarion got trapped in the warp and turbo-blasted by Nurglite aids, turning himself into a demon prince and his death guard into the Plague Marines. The traitors were now ready and assaulted Terra directly. Conrad wasn't present, however a few dozen thousands of Night Lords were. Likewise, Lorgar wasn't present, but thousands of Wordbearers were. The Alpha Legion were almost entirely absent. 5 full traitor legions, with elements from 3 others, crashed upon the Sol system, defended by 3 Loyalist legions. The Custodian Guard had been reduced by about 90% due to the war in the Webway, so they weren't able to be the decisive weapon both sides expected them to be. The siege was brutal for both sides, and it contained a shitload of awesome lore, but to keep things short and sweet, Sanguinius banishes Angron by ripping out his butcher's nails, Jagadai sacrifices himself to banish Mortarion, but actually technically survives, Fulgrim is humiliated by Dawn and loses interest in the siege, Perturabo is sick of his arsehole demon brothers and ditches the siege, Horus loses most of his sanity so he stops directly commanding, the Night Lord elements are crushed when their commander is killed by the first captain of the Blood Angels, and Magnus is banished by Vulcan. However, despite their successes, the Loyalists are on the back foot as Terra is flooded with demonic warp energy and there are barely any defenders left. The Ultramarines are extremely close to Terra, however the Loyalists defending Terra don't know it. So when Horus lowers the shields on the Vengeful Spirit to try and end the siege in a final epic showdown, the Emperor, Sanguinius, Rogel, Valdor and other Loyalists teleport on board. Rogel is trapped in a Cornite pocket dimension for centuries. Valdor fights Abaddon, Sanguinius fights and is killed by Horus, and then the Emperor begins turning into a Chaos God. However, he realizes that it's a pretty shit idea when he speaks to Alanis Person, his oldest friend, thus he rejects his own ascension, freeing Rogel from his prison, who then in turn saves Valdor. The Emperor faces Horus and the two have an epic duel. Horus is more powerful, but the Emperor is way more crafty. The Emperor does receive help from various sources, which finally allows him to slay Horus, ending the heresy. With Horus dead, the Chaos Gods withdraw and the traitor legions lose their edge as the Ultramarines arrive. They flee and they're hunted like the dogs they are. Many are killed. The Emperor is carried to the Golden Throne by Rogel and placed upon it, beginning his eternal vigilance whilst the Dark Angels and Space Wolves arrive on Terra to find it devastated and their father entombed. A lot of the Horus Heresy was overlapping. For example, while the Shadow Crusade was going on, the White Scars were trapped in Chondax and the Horus was attacking Molech. So it's hard to have like a step-by-step what was happening, but I hope this gives you a great idea of where each Primarch was at each stage of the heresy and how they all ended up where they needed to go. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the 2025 Majorkill lore artwork calendar, 1 week only. Also, we have some new slots open to get pre-painted major minis, and while we have sold out of the Space Elf Titan and Royal Longlooker for the special launch last Friday, we still have the Royal Ghost Warriors and the Ghost Lord available. Link to everything will be below. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.